Hello, I'm Kuljit Bhamra, and I describe myself as an ambassador of tabla because my mission and my desire is that this beautiful instrument is played all over the world in different ways and in different types of music. It's really wonderful to see how available tablas are in the market nowadays, and on the internet you can buy tablas online, second-hand or brand new, whereas in the old days I remember I had to drive a long distance to a tabla shop to look at a tabla and choose the one that I liked. Recently online, I've noticed tabla makers and tabla sellers advertising and promoting their tablas by striking the drum and showing how long the resonance lasts for. So let me just give you a demonstration of this. This is one of my tablas and I'm going to strike it and we'll see how long this sound lasts for. Here we go. Okay, that's just stopped. That must have been about 8 or 10 seconds. Let's try another one. Okay, so that must have been, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds. And let's just try a third one just for comparison purposes. Okay, that was about 2 seconds. Now, there seems to be a belief that a tabla with a long sustain is better than a tabla with less sustain. So, for example, this one is better than this one. Now, is that true? I say no, it's not true. Now, why is that? They're all good tablas, and I could very well argue that no, this one is the best out of the three because it has a better resonance. In my experience of recording tabla for over 40 years, I can tell you categorically that this is not always a good thing. Why isn't it a good thing? Well, music is made up of notes and spaces in between the notes. Sometimes the space is more important than the note itself. I know this sounds a bit weird, but as tabla players, we are used to playing lots of notes. And when I was young and keen to impress all my peers and my relatives, I was playing tabla with lots of notes. And if you watched me, you might think that I was getting paid by the note. But anyway, I was very keen and I thought that the faster you played and the louder you played and the more notes you play, the better. As I got a bit older and worked with other musicians and orchestras, I realized that each note has its character by what's surrounding it. So it could be another note, it could be space. And sometimes what surrounds a note is more important than the note itself. Now, why am I speaking like this about this sort of philosophical subjects? Well, I think in a recording world, if a drum is too resonant, it will fill up the space unnecessarily. Now, if you're a tabla soloist and you're just playing tabla on its own, by all means, choose the more resonant tabla because it will fill the space between the notes. Now, I still question, is that a good thing or not? Because if you are a tabla soloist, most likely you will have a drone accompanying you, whether it's an electronic drone or a tanpura, and that already is filling in the spaces. So this video is really designed for you to question which one is best for you. In a recording environment, I would go with the one that has less resonance because it would allow the other instruments to shine in the gap between the strikes. Now, I know this is a higher pitched drum, but the length of the note is just enough to give you a sense of the pitch, but it's not overwhelming and it's not flooding the whole recording with that note. Now, my point is further justified if we look at the larger drum. This is a bass sounding drum, and this particular one does have a long sustain. Which you might say is good, but in a recording environment, it's not good because it becomes overwhelming and fills the space of the song or the piece recorded. Now, I'm just going to demonstrate something for you. This is a doluk, but what I want to demonstrate is the bottom end or the low end of the doluk. If I play this, that occupies less space in a track. And I know it's a doluk, which is why doluk sounds like a doluk. Even the top end, it's a very sharp, quick, cutting sound. These sounds, in my opinion, are more suited to recordings where you're playing in a song or you're playing in a piece with lots of instruments. Now, if you know Qawwali music, you will know for sure that the tablas in Qawwali music have atta on them, or dough. So instead of a black spot here, there is a dough paste on there. That dulls the sound and makes the resonance less. And that gives it a punchier, sharper, quicker sound that in a recording environment has a very quick transient, doesn't fill up the whole space, and it's easier to mix in a production project where it is just long enough to make its presence known, but not too long that it floods the whole track with its sound, because we want to hear the singer, we want to hear the other instruments shine through as well. And that really is the reason why there are so many different types of instruments, because they all have their own characteristic sounds and occupy their own space. So in a drum which is designed to have a punchy quality, but also to have some pitch tone to it, like a tabla, what you don't want in a recording is for the pitch and tone to resonate for so long that it occupies the whole space of the song. So just to summarize, all these tablas are good in their own right. But I wouldn't say that this is better than that or that is better than that. What I would say, though, is in a recording environment where I'm recording a song, a Bhangra song or a Qawwali song or a Bollywood song or even a pop song, I would go for the shorter sustain rather than the long sustain. If I was playing a piece where the notes required that sustain and they were very spaced out or far apart, then I might choose that one. But with these ones, the shorter sustain, I can't go wrong. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again.